I'll give you a hands up. I see you. Hi, everyone. There we go. Hi, everyone. I see you.
Are we live?
Welcome. We are live. Welcome to OSD Go Live. It's been a while since we've seen you all out there. We are so happy that you're joining us. My name is Diane Provito, and I am joined by
Jessica Keegan and Beth Zirianis.
And we are going live for a midsummer talk about our famous One Book, One Summer.
One Oceanside.
One Oceanside.
18.
2018 book, Restart by Korman. And boy, oh boy, has this been an amazing summer because this book is flying off the shelves. It has been so wonderful to see the participation, to see all the love on Twitter. We have lots of tweets about our community reading the book. In fact, many of you have taken this book on vacation with you. We've seen photos on Twitter from Washington, D.C., the Caribbean, pretty much everywhere, and that's really exciting. The library, which is where we are hosting this event, so we thank our Oceanside Library. They are always the best partner when it comes to some really good book love. Also has an amazing display as soon as you walk in, and that display has some books, and we hear those are flying off the shelf as well. And one last note, I have to tell you, even Amazon. A couple of people have tried buying these on Amazon, and every once in a while, they're completely sold out. So thank you, Oceanside. You have book love, and you are readers just like we are, and you are loving Restart. It is one great book. So today, we're excited because we want to have a little bit of a conversation about the book before our in-person book talk at Oceanside Library on August 8th.
7 p.m.
That's right. That'll be at 7 p.m. right here. Okay. So what do we think? Any questions for the audience out there?
Yeah, let me just say, if Gordon Korman is watching, you never know. So we ask you to tune in and type some conversation in the sidebar, and who knows, maybe we'll see you at our August 8th book chat here at the library. I guess I'm just really wondering, we did One Book, One Summer last year. We did a Monster Calls. It was extremely successful. A lot of the community really received that book. But of course, at the time we did hear it. And this book, yes, it's year 2, and maybe that's part of why the buzz is growing. But there seems to be something special about Restart that has really connected with people, and just more people are gravitating to this title. It could be something as simple as people prefer lighter reads and maybe less sad reads over the summer. But I'm just wondering, why you think out there this book might be so well received. What's really captivating people with the book Restart? Any thoughts?
Well, I know we'd love to hear from some callers, but if hopefully we will start to hear some callers. But my initial reaction to that, and why I really gravitated toward this book, is because it involves an amnesia plotline, a loss of memory. And I grew up where I didn't watch a ton of soap operas, but once in a while there'd be an amnesia plotline, and the character would lose their memory, and it was really tough on the character, and it was tough on the people who were around the character and loved the character, because basically their whole history was erased and they had to kind of piece it back together. And that was so interesting because I think that, that's such an interesting way to deal with the character's history and the character himself, just trying to figure out who they were. So I loved that in the soap operas, and I was intrigued to see how they handled it here. This was a lot more intricate than your average soap opera, and it was so exciting. Oh, look, we have a caller. Yay!
So it turns out that we have some mystery callers tonight. Let's see who's calling to answer that question. Hello, welcome to OSD Go Live. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Mrs. Maroon from School 2.
Oh, I hope you heard that, everybody. School 2, if you're out there, the principal is on the phone. Mrs. Maroon, thanks for calling in.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to watch the live chat of Restart.
So we were wondering about your thoughts. I know that you heard that first question. We'll share it with you again.
Ms. Moreau, why do you think that this book was so well received? I know you're familiar with the book we did last year, Monster Calls, which was very well received, but this one really, we're just even feeling just a greater connection from the community. Why do you think that might be?
Well, I think with this book is the way the author wrote it, we could all relate. And I felt like I was in high school. So I was in school with Chase at that particular time. And you just felt like you were one of the characters. And I think that when you think back in our past of navigating the world of high school and what club do I join, we can all relate somehow to one of the characters in the book. And I think its message really stuck with all of us because it was so relatable.
That's a good point that I didn't even think of, but I think maybe it did bring a lot of our adults back into what it was like, and maybe reliving some of the ways they might have responded to other people when they were in school.
So, Ms. Marone, we want to thank you for calling in. We hope that you've been enjoying your summer and you've been reading lots of books, including this one by Gordon Korman. We know that you read that one, but his other books are great as well. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thank you. Right, so that was great to talk with Ms. Marone. That was wonderful. So I have another question that I thought I'd throw out there. I am just wondering if you had this opportunity to have a restart, to have a reset on any part of your life or your life, would you want that? Would you want to do over? And if so, or if not, why?
What do you think, Dr. Sirianis?
I like my life, so I think when we admit we want to do over, then it sort of negates all the things that we like about our life. But listen, I think there's always going to be things, especially as you start to get old like I am, that you're like, oh, maybe if I had, followed a different pathway, then things, there would have been certain things. So I think probably if I could go back to my 20-year-old self, there might be some things that I'd want to do over and take a different path, but certainly not everything. And I think I would be terrified to have amnesia and not remember who I am or who I love and why I love them, and all my friends and what I value.
I agree wholeheartedly. I of course, there's always maybe that one moment in your life or a few moments in your life where maybe if you could do it again and have that opportunity, you want to. Oh, wait a minute. Look, we have another caller. And this time, hello, OSD Go Live. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, friends from Oceanside. This is Julie McGann, principal at School 6.
Oh, my goodness, Mrs. McGann. Thanks for watching. We're so happy that you're calling in. School 6, your principal is on the phone. Oh, my goodness.
And hello to all my alumni at schools 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9E.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. So we hope you've been listening. The latest question is something we'd love to hear your thoughts on. We'll just share it with you one more time.
So, Mrs. McGann, if you could have a do-over, would you want a do-over like Chase got? And if so, why? Or if not, why not?
So that's a great question, one that I thought about quite a bit while I was reading the book. I think there have been so many times in my life where I said to myself, I wish I could have a redo. But I think the general theme of my life, like Dr. Zirianis just said, I really like where I am in my life. I have the most wonderful family, the most wonderful husband. I have the most wonderful job in the world. And I don't think I would be here today if I had something that I think Aaron, Bear, and Chase had, which was the protection of some adults. I think that when I really thought about how Chase's dad and the principal and the coach all covered up for them and allowed them to become the monsters that they had become in this book, the way that the author portrayed them, I think that, while I was angry at my parents as a child sometimes because they didn't protect me from certain things, I think that every mistake I've ever made, I've had the opportunity to really learn from. And I don't think I'd be where I am today if I didn't have those learning experiences. So no, I don't think I would want to have a restart.
I'm with you, Mrs. McGann.
Me too.
I think we learn from our mistakes, and certainly this book, magnified some human beings who weren't really kind at all, and more than just not kind. But at the same time, you do learn from mistakes in life, and that's part of what shapes us and makes us who we are. So do-overs are very interesting. At the extreme point of this, I agree with you. It's not something that I would want, but I echo both of your sentiments and Dr. Zirianis's. Mrs. McGann, you made our day calling into the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and keep on bringing these wonderful books our way. It's been so wonderful sharing thoughts about literature with so many great people in Oceanside.
And same to you. Thanks for your work on the Twitter chat,
That's
and
right.
everything. So same to you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGinn. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
That was very special. 2 mystery callers. Let me tell you, Oceanside, we love our books and we love reading. So we don't want to uncover too much of Restart at this point, because at the end of the day, we're looking to do this together with you here at the Oceanside Library on August 8th, 7 p.m. But we know that a lot of you have been saying that you finished your book and you'd like some other recommendations. So of course, we are not finishing an OSD Go Live without a few new good books for you to check out. So let's start with Dr. Zirianis with the most important one of all.
Well, I brought 2 for you. Sorry. I brought one for the Murphys. For those of you who did participate in the vote, you'll remember that one for the Murphys was the book that competed against Restart and did very well. A lot of people wanted this book to be the winner. So if you finished Restart and you voted for that book, a lot of people have been posting that they've read this one as well and loved it. It could have equally have won and been a great community read. So check out one for the Murphys by Linda Malahi Hunt. And I think we've gotten so much feedback about people who've now discovered Gordon Korman. So this is his latest book. I just picked it up at Barnes & Noble last week. It's called What's His Face? And it's really, it follows this poor young boy who you know, ends up not really having an identity where he's popular, and he moves around a lot and ends up at a new school, and that kind of becomes his name, like What's His Face? And it's really his search to sort of be noticed. So I think this will be another book that's really going to resonate, especially with our middle grade readers. So if you've liked Restart, you've become a Gordon Korman fan or already were one, check out What's His Face.
Great cover.
Yeah, really great.
What are some suggestions you might have?
Well, I polled the audience at home before I came, and I got a few suggestions from Matthew Keegan, my son. Matthew's 9, and he loves the book The Right Steph. This is a book about Steph Curry, and he plays for the Golden State Warriors, and you can see that this book is very well loved by Matthew Keegan. So he recommends this one, as well as The Wild Robot. This book was one of the Global Read Aloud books last year, and there are a lot of copies have been floating around Oceanside. Matthew absolutely devoured this book and loved it. So those are 2 shout outs from Matthew. Thanks, Matt.
And I get to shout out a Leo Keegan recommendation. That's right. It is the 20th anniversary of these books. The absolutely classic Harry Potters by J.K. Rowling. Of course, this is the first edition. It's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And this edition is very, very special. It's brought to us by Mrs. Keegan because it is an illustrated version that's absolutely beautiful. So this is something you probably want to have in your home, but whether it's this beautiful version or the classic novel paperback, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is worth a read, especially if you're interested in doing a read aloud as a family. I highly recommend this one.
These versions are available to check out of the library also. You can take these out of the library.
And this is a personal reading goal for Mrs. Stubbs, in case you're watching, from school number 3. She wants to try to
So Mrs. Stubbs, let us know how you're doing. Tweet it out. We want to know your progress.
It's the 10th anniversary of Twilight, if anyone cares.
That's another good one for our
young adult
readers. That's right, our young
yes.
adult readers. Go for it. Give it a shot. And we have a couple of other books and a reminder about the elementary summer reading summer challenge that we'd like to share before we close out today's
One
show.
last idea for our younger readers, Mike Lupica, who wrote a lot of books that are about sports and sport teams. He wrote Travel Team. Has started a new series. He was here at our local bookstore recently, and he has started a new series called the Zach and Zoe Mysteries. I think there are only 2 or 3 that he's written, but he's got a couple more in the works, and these are a lot of fun, especially if you like sports and mystery books.
So. Especially if you love that name, Zoe.
Yeah, I do. And we have a Zoe here with us.
We sure do, and we're going to introduce her in just about a few seconds because we have shout outs for you. But before we do those shout outs, one last very important component to know.
So maybe you have received one of these and maybe you've been working on it, or maybe you want to go to the website, the Oceanside School's website, and there's still time to finish up a little July reading and August reading, but this is a summer reading calendar. It has ideas for things you can do in reading and other activities, and there are checkoff boxes for you to check on those days that you're reading and tracking your reading. So it's just a great way to sort of keep inspiring reading. There's reminders to log your reading for the summer reading challenge. So,
and we're at almost 100,000 minutes for our elementary students. Just about. We're at 99,600 minutes so far this summer.
That's awesome.
Our goal is that Oceanside town is the most readingest town ever.
Yes.
Is that a word? Not really, but you get my point.
I like it.
Thanks. So keep reading out there. Before we sign off, we do have to introduce our moderator on the sidebar, an Oceanside student, Zoe. Zoe has some shout outs for us. Thank you all who wrote in on the side and who've been watching. Hey, Zoe.
Hey, Zoe. So shout outs go to Mr. Keegan, Leo Keegan, Matt Keegan, Mrs. Marone, and Mrs. Marone recommended Wish by Barbara O'Connor.
Ah, that's great.
We also have a viewer who enjoyed The Wild Robot, which is my dad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Napolitano.
Thank you so much for your support, Mr. Napolitano, and everybody else on that list. We are wishing you a wonderful summer. We hope that you're doing a whole lot of reading. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on August 8th, 7 p.m., Oceanside Library. Last shout out for Oceanside Library. You are such great partners. Thanks for hosting us tonight.
Go read.
Go read, everyone.
Go read.
Nice. Go read.